Okay, I'd like to welcome everybody to the August 18th, 2020 regular meeting of the Bland County School Board. We have a quorum, so we will start the meeting. With that, Mr. Buttry, if you would do the invocation.
Lord, we thank you for this evening, for the opportunity to come before your people and, God, conduct the business of our school. God, I pray, Lord, your blessing upon our teachers, our staff, Lord, the students, parents, Lord, as they prepare for this year's school year. God, give us the wisdom in your divine judgment, Lord God, to conduct this business, and this evening, God, to empower, I pray, Lord, many people, Lord God, to carry forth the knowledge and the learning that will take place in this 2020 and 2021 school year. We give you thanks in Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, first item, we would like to make a amendment to the agenda to add an item in the action part to add another meeting before the current start of school. So if I could have a motion to...
I'll make a motion to amend the agenda.
Second.
Mr. Bailey?
4.
Mr. Badger?
4.
Ms. Puckett?
4.
Mr. Shepherd?
for. Next item is to approve the minutes of the June 26th special meeting, the July 14th regular meeting, and the July 30th special meeting. If there are no modifications, we'll do them all together. If you have some changes, we'll do each one separate. So anybody have any adjustments to those minutes? Okay, if I could have a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
Mr. Bailey?
4.
Mr. Badger?
4.
Ms. Puckett?
4.
Mr. Shepherd?
For. Next item is public comment. We have received 5 comments, which I will read.
Is there anyone here for public comment?
Anybody here want to add another public comment? Okay. First one is from Maria Taylor. I'm writing to you today both as a parent and a teacher regarding my concerns about school opening in a few weeks. In recent weeks, our little county has seen a gradual uptick in COVID-19 cases. While I would absolutely love to be back in the classroom with students and send my own children back, I do not believe that we can safely do so at this time. I made the decision for my own children to participate in 100% virtual learning as we care for our 88-year-old grandmother and my brother who is handicapped. I am very fearful of being exposed to COVID-19 and sharing germs with my family. Back in March and throughout the spring and early summer months, Bland County maintained 0 cases, but just as school is about to begin, cases are steadily increasing. As of today, we have 38 cases, which translates to 603.8 cases per 100,000 people in a county with 6,280 residents. I do not believe that maintaining social distancing and mask wearing is a realistic concept for students, particularly students in grades pre-K to 2. They are not going to understand why they can't sit next to their friends, hug their teachers, or play together at recess. The guidelines that have been set forth are going to be difficult to follow and possibly even traumatizing to young students. In addition, many of our staff members, bus drivers, and cafeteria workers are in the high-risk groups and could sustain a serious illness that could result in hospitalization or death. I do not believe that having children enter our schools just 2 days per week is worth this risk. Most students will be completing work on Chromebooks while at school. This work could be more safely and just as effectively completed at home with no risk. Starting school during a global pandemic with cases rising in our area also causes instability for families in which parents work outside of the home. Parents will constantly be in limbo with the challenge of finding childcare on short notice. If there is an outbreak at a school or numbers rapidly increase in the county, School would need to be closed immediately, and parents would be in constant binds to find a sitter or even miss work if a sitter could not be found. If everyone participated in virtual learning, parents would be able to plan for childcare in advance. I propose that Blaine County Public School opts to follow the procedures chosen by neighboring counties where cases are also on the rise at this time. I think the teachers should begin work on August 20th as planned, but the first day of school for students should be pushed to after Labor Day, and all students will be virtual learners for the first 9-week grading period. Teachers could teach virtually from classrooms daily. This would allow time for professional development for teachers, provide instructional safety, and give community leaders time to assess the risk of COVID-19 and allow students to return to school only when it is safe and reasonable to do so. I will respect and conform to any decision made by the board, but I do not believe that we can safely welcome students back to our school at this time. Thank you, Maria Taylor. Okay, next one is from Charlie Puckett. Most public health officials recommend against in-person learning unless infection rates are low or in decline. In light of our outbreaks over the last few weeks, would it be prudent to follow Wythe County's example and begin the school year with virtual learning for at least 9 weeks? Sadly, the predictions for fall and winter remain dire. Respectfully, Charlie Puckett. Next one from Megan Brinkley. I would like to address the board requesting to please consider staff members who have elementary school-age children when making any decision that pertains to not only students returning to school, but as well as staff members returning to the buildings. I can't speak for every staff member that is a parent of elementary children, but for me, every decision could be made affects my family very differently. I'm a parent that relies on daycare when I cannot be home with my children. If I am not home, neither are my children. This keeps me from being able to do virtual learning with my children during peak learning times for children their age. I'm asking that the board does what is best for our children and their safety, but also to consider staff members who have children that are students. Thank you for all the hard work, dedication, and time you put into making Blaine County Public Schools a safe and productive place to belong. Mrs. Megan Brinkley. Next one is from Tisha James. I suggest the kids go back to school. They will not receive adequate education at home. Tisha. Next one is from Alice Dykes. As a medical professional in this community, we have no business going back to school right now. Our county has started its COVID-19 explosion, and cases have quadrupled within the last 2 weeks. Now, while the number of cases is not a high number in comparison to Nova, for example, we need to evaluate per capita. This is a big number for a little county. I feel if the school board insists on starting in-person classes, they are negligent in protecting our children. We need to see what this does to our community before going back. I, at first, was very skeptical of the virus. Now that we are seeing it here, I am no longer skeptical. The deadly cases are few. However, how can we predict who it is that will be deadly for? The nurses at the schools already have a hard time getting people to keep their 6 kids home. People use school as daycare, and I don't care who all gets infected with strep, flu, bugs, etc. If the board doesn't delay, they are putting our children in danger. I encourage all parents to pull their kids to virtual. Thanks, Alice Dykes. Okay, next item is informational agenda and is financial reports. At this time, we're still waiting for some adjustments to the budget, so we don't have a final budget. And spending, of course, has been minimal other than for facilities since people are not in the building. So everything is good at this time. Next item on informational agenda is updates return to school. Mr. Mead, I'll let you kick that one off.
We're going to have a special meeting, I think, on the 25th to examine the reports that will come in at that time. Right now, we have a plan to go on a hybrid scheduling with groups A and B. We plan to stick to that plan. but things can change, and we will see in another week how things are going before we make any kind of changes.
Just to make sure everything's clear, everyone does have the choice whether they have their children come to school or educate them remotely. Isn't that true, Mr. Mead?
Yes.
The other thing is K through 3, even if we do remote, we would actually have those children in school because it's virtually impossible to educate them remotely. Is that not the plan?
Well, they don't have their devices. Their devices have been on back order, so that's a big concern right now.
But that wouldn't be a plan now. We would have to decide that on the 25th. or
Yes, sir.
whatever, so.
Right. Okay. Anybody else want to chime in at this time on updates, return to school, or want to wait till the meeting on the 25th?
We'll wait.
Okay, principals, let's start with the elementary. Mr. Grimm?
Pretty much, if it were a normal school year, we'd be ready and on schedule.
You want him to come up here?
Looking at the return.
You don't mind if you would come up to the microphone?
Oh, do I have to?
Do we need to clean the mic after each use?
Probably.
Do we have disinfectant wipes to clean the mics after each use?
I use my principal voice and yell at the microphone.
You
There
got
you
some
go.
in the gym.
Had this been a normal school year, we would be more than prepared to begin where we are. I think all the things are in place that normally outline how we go into a year and get teachers ready, regardless of what grade levels those are. Looking at our return to learning plan, there are several factors that have not yet been alleviated to begin the school year, which I think can take place. It's actually the first time I've seen Sharon in a couple days, but the idea of the touchless fountains and sinks and those pieces, your flushable urinals and bathrooms, those have not been begun to be remedied. We've obviously not seen custodial or maintenance staff in quite a while inside the building, which is becoming a bit of a concern. So I do not know how to alleviate those concerns because those are sort of out of my hands at this point. But it's one that I share with the teachers coming in, knowing that they're supposed to come back possibly in 2 days on the 20th and be able to come into our school year and be ready. And I think it needs to be prepared for teachers as well. We're trying to protect their safety, not just the students. So I think those are pieces that we need to keep in mind when we move forward. There are lots of things we'd like to do once we get teachers back in to sort of alleviate and address the concerns that they have so that they can go forward and have some confidence when working with students. I think maybe two or three of the comments made this evening were actually from faculty and staff. So we'd like to be able to work forward. We have been quite a bit of communication going out from us already at the school, but we can only share information as we have it. And can't really make empty promises at that point. So hopefully at the conclusion of this meeting, I'll be able to go back to my office to say, well, here's the plan moving forward. So we're sort of in a waiting game ourselves. Had this been last year, we would be ready to go and there wouldn't be any concerns related everything to COVID. It's kind of hard to get some of those pieces in place where it simply comes down to just getting some of the materials hit the school. So, and we understand a lot of things are on back order because that's the nature of how things are right now. So, pretty generic statement, but it's kind of where we are. As we get information, we answer questions. Turn over new leaves and move from there.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Hopkins, do we need to move the microphone so they're facing the camera? Or are you using a different camera?
You got my best side.
Well, I echo Mike's exact same statement. Our issue with teachers coming back in 2 days, facilities, we still have some things to do there. We have a couple of rooms that still need moved around, and we're getting ready for a new counselor from Mount Rogers, so we're getting that room ready. And our big issue is scheduling, and that's not an issue that is a fault of ours. That's something that happened at the spur of the moment, that the rollover happened, and we've been working on it constantly. And we've had to start from scratch, and it's really difficult to do that in just a short amount of time. So we've been working on that really hard, and a normal year we will be done. I mean, you should be ready to go way before now, and we aren't. And in the midst of everything we're doing with COVID, it's difficult not to be ready for teachers to come back at the same time. You want to come back with teachers and be strong and be ready to go in 2 days, and we aren't there.
Can you explain to us what's different about scheduling this year than other years?
I can, Mr. Mead, would you answer that?
Well, I'll help you, is the fact that this year with, there's been some things that have come up with scheduling, like, here's an example, is the Voc Tech Center, the Career Tech Center, that we have to match their schedules, and they are going to operate only in the mornings. Is that true?
Yeah, so there's things we can handle. What happened to us is that we did the rollover in July, at the end of July. We made a plan in July. I think we looked at it and we had our COVID plan in place July the 11th or 18th, whatever that was. We did the rollover at the end of July, and nothing we did from early spring came over. I mean, our course requests were there, but nothing else was on the, so we were literally entering course requests at the end of July.
So why did that happen? Is that something that's an internal system, a state system?
I'm not sure. I don't think it's a state system. And I don't think, I'm not sure why it happened.
So we didn't have a backup that we could fall back to?
In PowerSchool, we had it ourselves, but it's like shows on PowerSchool what we entered, all of our course requests, but it doesn't, we had to literally re-enter those requests to register students. And we started early this year with that, really early. Ms. Hodock started early registering, and it wasn't.
But this doesn't sound like it's a COVID-related issue.
No, that's what I mean. In the middle of having to do everything with COVID, and we're starting a new schedule at the end of July, starting scheduling for the next year. And that means dual enrollment, all these other new things. It's just this situation we have where we've had just a couple weeks to start scheduling, and our kids have started going to school and dual enrollment and all these things that we're trying to make sure it happens. And that's where our attention has had to be. And our attention really needs to be on starting school when we're trying to make sure something that should have already happened has happened. Does that make sense?
I'll say yes and no. Any other questions from the board on that?
I mean, are we going to be ready?
In 2 days, we are not going to be ready.
In 2 days?
That's when the teachers are scheduled.
The
to
teachers
come
coming
back.
back.
And I'll say that we are where we are because Tyler and Tiffany have been working like crazy. Luckily, I have some people who are really, really fast, and it's been a mountain. And we're going to get there, but I don't know that we can do it in 2 days. We're trying.
Some of the things we discussed with teachers when they do come back, I know you're into the scheduling right now, hot and heavy, but it'd be nice to do some dry runs with teachers to show them how kids are going to walk up and down the hall, what happens if a kid is sick, those kind of things, so teachers feel a little more comfortable. What do we do if this happens? So, if Tyler can take over that part where he's showing teachers around, I see you started your signage, which really looks nice. So, but teachers need to have a little like a dry run. They do that in the medical profession a lot. We used to do it with school safety. We had dry runs. We didn't have people there, but we had dry runs, and it helps. So, some of the plans, the VACOR has come up with a video for teachers and staff, so we can do a lot of those things with teachers when they get here until you get the scheduling ready.
Yeah, I mean, we'll be on that side of things as far as what we're doing, our signage, everything we've ordered is in, we're good with that. But as far as, teachers need to know what they're teaching, and that's the piece that we won't be ready. So, that's the only thing I have.
At the last school board meeting on July the 30th, we asked you how many weeks it would be in order to get the schedules ready. 3 weeks is 20th, which is in 2 days. I realize that we kind of made a halfway point, but at the same time, we asked for those schedules to make sure that they were going to be complete. We appreciate your staff and all what you all are doing. I know this is a difficult time. I know things are happening that we've never seen happen before, but we have to start school.
So you're saying if it hadn't even for COVID, we still wouldn't be able to be ready for school? If we would have started 2 weeks ago, we wouldn't have been?
As far as, we've been working with scheduling, and as far as scheduling, we would be swamped. I mean,
We wouldn't be able to, if we would have started, we wouldn't have been able to start on the 13th that we had planned. And then even if COVID hadn't have been, if we hadn't had all the issues with COVID, we still would not be able to start school for next week. Or 2 days from now, you wouldn't be ready for teachers to be here.
and that's not, I mean, we have brought teachers in without.
I'm
schedules.
just asking, would you have been ready?
Not with their schedules. And we've done that before, since I've been here,
Not been ready when they got here?
with their schedules.
Okay.
It's not ideal.
Yeah.
Okay. Mr. Mead?
Yes, sir. Just a quick few things to talk about from my side is just look up above your heads and look at this nice tile that's been put up. It's so nice, and if you can think back to the way it was before this, I'm sure you'll see a big change in here. It's brightened everything up. The cafeteria looks nice and clean. I appreciate that work. During the shutdown week, that was unfortunate. We had to take a whole week and shut down our buildings. But we did have a professional disinfecting company come in. Their name is Modern Cleaning Innovations. They did something called electrostatic cleaning and disinfection. Dr. Workman paid for it. He also got the entire county done, his courthouse and his other buildings. My hat off to him. So he helped pay for that. In the future, that'll be our cost, but I think it was really neat to watch them do that. I got a chance to see them do it. It was really neat. Laura can help me with this one. I think that right now we have around 25% of our students have signed up for virtual learning, and 75% are still sign up for hybrid. Is that correct?
Yes, we have, as of this afternoon, 573 responses to our plan for learning. It's 73.5% opting for the hybrid plan, 26.5% opting for distance learning.
I have the new teachers coming in tomorrow for a new teacher orientation. There's not many, 4 or 5, but they'll be in there tomorrow. Mr. Sample has bought breakfast for them. Hats off to Mr. Sample. Talked to Dr. Workman again, and Dr. Workman has agreed to give the school board another $150,000 out of the county CARES money, and I appreciate that because we are starting to go up in a lot of costs. You can see some of the things we've purchased.
County got, do you remember the amount? It was a little over $1 million in CARES money.
To our county?
Yeah.
I didn't know it was that much.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's quite a bit. I don't remember the number.
And just to ask people to have patience with the times that we're in right now. There's going to be constant change. This is not something that's going to be, we're going to put this plan out and it's not going to just be a foolproof plan. It's going to have flaws in it that we have to adjust to and change from time to time. And we may have to meet more than just once or twice a month. So I ask for the patience for everyone. Laura has a plan with STEM. We didn't get to have the STEM camp this year. We've still got that STEM monies in there. And Laura, would you tell them what we have discussed about the STEM program?
I met with the lead teachers, and they have come up with a plan to do something called STEM in a Bag at the elementary level. And Ms. Lambert and Ms. Palmer are working on, there will be 10 weeks that we will do this with the students. They will plan the lessons, everything, the virtual part of it. We will send things home with the children, and then they'll be able to complete whatever project is at home as an enrichment for them. We're gonna post it, we have a STEM webpage, the projects will be posted there. So I did talk to Mr. Jackson with Withland Foundation, and he was in agreement that we could do this alternative to not being able to have camp this summer. So we are working on doing that.
Yeah, it's nice to have something they can do at home and continue the program and keep the children interested. That's great.
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah.
Thank you, Laura. And we mentioned the training with the teachers and the VACOR tape. I'll be sending those out, especially the videos, so you can share that with your staff. The 1-3 Chromebooks are on back order. Unfortunately, I have no updates on that. I don't know what back order means this day and time. We have sent our first shipment of PPEs to each school. I think Jill's is in the gym there. You can see the amount of stuff we've sent, and that is still more to come because we have some stuff on back order. But the hand sanitizers, the masks, the gloves, what am I missing? So many things that we've ordered and we've sent to each school, and that's just the first part of it, and I don't know how long that will last. This is all new to us. I don't know how long 250 masks will last. I don't know, and some of these are not disposable. They're like
Each child's getting a mask, right? We're getting them 2 masks, correct? So
that's all I have, sir.
Okay, board members, Mr. Buttrey?
I realize that this is a season in which none of us have entered before, and as I've asked for before, that we work together and everyone does their part, and that whether you're a parent, whether you're a staff member, whether you're a student, that we continue to go forward. Whether coronavirus goes away this year, next year, there'll be another virus to come in its place, but we must succeed, and we will. And we're going to all work together in it. Appreciate all the staff, appreciate JDM, appreciate Mr. Mead. I know our central office staff, our administrators. You all are doing a lot. As I said to Ms. Hopkins earlier, we appreciate you all. And so with that, that's what I have.
Ms. Puckett?
I just hope that we have the understanding and the knowledge to do what is right for our kids and their teachers and everybody else that works here. I know we have a wonderful group of people, and I just want everybody to be safe.
Mr. Bailey?
Yeah, just again, thanks to everyone that's working, and thanks to the parents, and hopefully that everybody be patient, because not something that's been done before. So maybe it has and we don't know it, but I was talking with somebody today. There's lots of wrong ways to do it, but we're going to try something, but we're going to be very fluid, and we'll be flexible, and we're going to be flexible with parents and with the teachers and with the kids, and we'll do what we can. First and foremost is safety, but a lot of the parents, as Ms. Radford was reading, 75% of the parents want their kids to be in school. So, and we do have an option for those that do not want their children here. So we need to move forward. So.
Yeah, we were very blessed in Bland County for a long time in relation to COVID, and we've seen a number of cases now. These cases have been concentrated, and so far have not, I'll say, impacted our school systems as far as starting back. But things could change on a daily basis, and a lot of people have been on vacation. They've come back now. There was a concern there would be a surge at that time. Hopefully vacations are about over and things can calm down. It's not an easy answer. It's pretty easy to do remote learning out of this building. It's not near as easy to do remote learning out of the elementary school. Kindergartners through third grade. A whole lot of what they learn is not out of a book or on a computer. It's how to socialize, it's how to follow rules, those type of things. And they can't learn that without being in school. And it's very hard for them to do distance learning. So we have different problems depending on what grade you look at, what age you look at. And there's no answer that's going to make everybody happy. But as Dwayne said, right now, 3/4 of the people in the county say they want to send their kids to school. And if that number continues, I think we need to support that and open the schools up. We keep in mind class sizes are going to be halved and really even smaller than that, because you're taking 3/4 and splitting that in half.
About 35%.
Right. So there will be opportunities for that, and but we do feel we need to move ahead, and delaying it isn't buying us anything at this point in time. But we'll be looking, if we're even in this meeting, we'll be setting some rules so that if something does happen, we can act very quickly and do the tracing and take the proper actions. Okay, action agenda. The first item is to approve payments. Anybody have any question on the payments that are due? If not, could I have a motion to approve?
Make the motion to approve the payments.
I'll second.
Mr. Butchie?
4.
Ms. Puckett?
Four.
Mr. Bailey?
4.
Mr. Shepard?
4. Next item is O&M projects that are over $5,000. We're expanding the band room, and with that, we have two options on the floor, kind of to patch up what's there or to replace the floor. The material to replace the floor, there's been several quotes on it. It's a little over $6,000. My recommendation would be to replace the floor with the floating floors, the engineered material that's waterproof. And the floor that's in it, there was plywood laid down on the old gym floor and then tile put on. The tile are coming up. We can't match the tile. And of course, where the wall was taken out, we'd have to build up with the plywood and put the tile. So my recommendation is that we go ahead and approve the $6,000 to get the floor.
Yeah, and I was in there a couple weeks ago, and it's pretty rough. So
Who would be doing that work?
That's the material. We would have to go out for labor on the chit.
So this is just, we're just approving the purchase of the material, not the actual work itself?
Right, the purchase of the material, that's correct.
Okay. Question. Do we need you need a motion for this, or?
I need a motion, yes.
The floor is rough, I mean, but, do we need a quote for the entire job? If it's gonna be over 6,000, if it's over 5,000, we need a quote for the entire job.
We need
or
3
if it's-
quotes.
Yeah. I know we can do the material, but we need to know what the labor's gonna be before we can actually approve. Unless it's something that's gonna fall under maintenance, so.
Well, the problem is if we're going to use this room, we're going to have to move fairly quickly, but I mean, we can.
I mean, if we had an understanding of what the labor was gonna be, so. I mean, do we know
we
who's
have
gonna
not
do the
quoted
work?
labor at
I
this
mean, do
point.
we, if we're gonna start school next week, do we know who's gonna do the labor? If we understand what the material is gonna be, we need to understand what the labor is gonna be.
I mean, it's going to be ready for when school starts.
I mean, it's supposed to be ready, we want it ready for next week, right? Do we know who's gonna do the job, do the work?
We don't at this time, no.
I think it'd be best for us to get a quote and get all of it wrapped up together, and that way we
I
can
mean, if we don't know who's gonna do it,
put it all together.
But the thing is, though, if we don't have the material,
Yeah,
I mean, in this thing, I realize it's a single job, but the material and the labor are pretty separate issues on the thing.
well, somebody's got to put it down, so
Right.
I would make the motion that we send it out for bid to get our pricing and get the labor cost and put it all together. And even if we send it out to us procure the material, that's fine. But
Yeah.
the labor needs to be
I mean,
quoted
if the
so we
labor's
know
gonna-
what's
if-
what.
right, if the labor's under, we need an understanding of what the labor's gonna be before we approve to buy the materials, so.
Okay. So you're saying to bid it out?
I don't necessarily say build the whole job, but I mean, we can't just approve something we don't understand what the price is, what the total price is. I mean,
Okay.
is it like we're laying laminate flooring down and it's gonna take a couple days? Is it something, we don't actually know who's going to do it.
It's a big room, but it's
Yeah.
a simple room.
Right.
And it's basically snapped together. It's the engineered flooring that snaps together and goes pretty quick if you're not cutting around anything.
But if we don't know who's gonna do it, we have no idea we can even get it done by next week, and then once
Do we
school-
want to give a maximum amount, or how do you want to do this? I mean, that would be one option.
Well, I'd like to see the quote for the flooring. Since it's $6,000, and let's get that approved, and then approve with it also the labor for who's going to do it, and that way it's done and it can be finished.
I mean, because if we don't know who's gonna do it, we can buy the material, we may not even be able to find anybody to do it by the time next week rolls around, so.
Yeah.
We could have the material, and then next we're storing the material, and we can't get it done because school's already started and we've got kids in there, so. I mean, are we talking $5,000 or $10,000 to put it in? I wouldn't think so, and hope not for that.
No,
for
I
that.
wouldn't think it would be very expensive. I mean,
Is it something we're expecting, we were expecting JDM to do, or?
well, I'm sure they'll bid on it.
Right. I mean, if it's materials not, if the labor's not $3,000, then, but, we can't just, if we were going to buy the material, how would we approve the labor? If it was over 5,000?
Well, the labor shouldn't be over 5,000, but the project, the
entire
project's
project is.
going to be over 5,000, right?
Yeah.
Right.
So I think we should bid it out as a project.
Yes.
Okay. Another one we need to bid out is the roof on the ag building at the elementary school. Okay, we're having leaks there, and where do we stand as far as that dental office they were putting in there?
No, I have not.
They haven't done any work since.
They haven't done, as far as I know, they haven't done anything since.
So as far as we know, that's on hold at the moment. So we just need to get the leaks fixed. So I mean, we don't need a motion to go out for bid on that, but we need to go out for bid on that.
For the roof as well.
I would make a motion that I think that we need a motion to go for a bid for that. Do we not?
We'll likely use that space for EVAC back to get some social distance.
Yeah, I mean, you wanna do it. I don't think we need a motion to go for a bid. We would need a motion to approve it, but I won't think we actually need a motion to bid on it.
Okay.
Because we can come back with the bid and we don't have to approve any of them. We can
All right,
decide.
So we're going to bid two things.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Bid the band room floor.
And the roof on the ag building at the elementary school. Okay, in light of what we talked about before, and trying to make sure that the rules are clear, and I think this actually is going to be modified because there was some discussion on this earlier. But let me read this, and then we'll stop at each point and make sure that everybody is in agreement. It is the goal of Bland County Public Schools to keep all facilities free of COVID-19. Should a case be confirmed that places this goal at risk, the following actions will be implemented. Okay, the first bullet, any individual that has tested positive will be banned from entering a Bland County Public School facility until they are symptom-free and at least 14 days have passed since the positive test took place, or 10 days have passed since the positive test and a test has been taken with a negative result, or 2 tests with negative results have been taken at least 24 hours apart. Now, the main reason for the third one is basically when there is a false positive. And the person says, I don't think I have it. They can go and get 2 tests which come back negative at least 24 hours apart, and they're released.
Okay. So they'll have to have 2 negatives.
2 negative.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Right. The first one, and these were actually health department, but with a little extra safety added in, to say that you have to wait 14 days and get a negative test. What we found, or what the health department has found, is a lot of people test positive for a long period of time because it's in their system. They're no longer contagious, but it's in their system and the test picks it up in their system. So they're saying that 14 days after a positive test is sufficient time not to be contagious. So it's basically black and white as to who can enter the school should they have had a positive test. Anybody have any concerns on that? Okay. When it is identified that an individual with a confirmed case of COVID-19 has been inside Bland County Public School facilities, a tracing process will immediately be completed identifying all individuals that have been in close contact and all services that require special attention. Close contact is defined as anyone who came within a 6-foot bubble for more than 15 minutes. So, and the principals will have to be the drivers in this along with Mr. Mead, but should we have a case, we've got to trace everybody that was in close contact with that individual and the surfaces that that individual may have touched so that we can address that.
Is that something like as far as for classes, when students are changing classes, is it better maybe now that you're looking at maybe high school or even on the elementary side that if there's some that change classes, that maybe each teacher needs to have an assigned seat for kids and say, Johnny, this is your seat, and so we know who's been around Johnny, of course, for that 15 minutes. Of course, they should be separated by more than 6 foot, but at least it gives you that understanding. Is that something that's doable? I mean, that each class period, because now what you're doing, well, we're going to have cleanings in between the A and B kids, so I don't know if it's doable. That's just a thought. I don't know if it would apply since they're all 6 feet apart sitting. I don't know if it would even. No, yes, maybe. Okay.
Okay, all individuals that are identified as having close contact with an individual, and close contact was defined as came within a 6-foot bubble for more than 15 minutes. But all individuals that are identified as having close contact with an individual infected with COVID-19 will be immediately quarantined from Bland County Public School facilities. The quarantine will be lifted for an individual following 14 days without symptoms or a negative COVID-19 test. I'd like to modify this. That test must be performed at least 5 days after the contact. If you would modify that. We were told that it takes that long sometimes for the symptoms to show. So,
Yeah.
Any questions on that? Superintendent has the right to immediately quarantine from Bland County Public School facilities an individual, a class, a grade, or all occupants of an entire building based upon events related to COVID-19 testing. So what we're saying here is Mr. Mead has the right, once he has done the tracing, once the tracing has been done, to say, okay, this is the severity, and to put things in under control, these are the actions we're going to take. Social distancing will be required at all Bland County Public School facilities. When social distancing is not an option, protective masks or other appropriate PPE equipment must be utilized. This was discussed, and if we have a doctor's statement that a PPE mask is not proper for a person, they will be allowed to wear a face shield. Individuals that cannot or will not follow this guideline will be transferred to remote learning. So, a student that says they cannot do this, they will have to do remote learning, and then it will be a requirement of employment. Any additions or modifications to this?
I don't have any.
No.
Okay.
Like a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve the plan.
Second.
Return to school plan.
Mr. Bailey?
4.
Mr. Patrick?
4.
Ms. Puckett?
4.
Mr. Shepherd?
4. Okay, next item, authorization to sign elementary school checks, which would be Michael Grimm, Michelle Willard, and how do you say the Christian? Lee
Lee.
Christian.
Yep.
Can I have a motion for that?
Yeah. Motion to authorize Michael Grimm, Michelle Willard, and Lee Christian to sign checks on the Blaine County Elementary School Fund and the Blaine County Elementary School Cafeteria Fund. Do we need to give those numbers? Okay. For the 2019-20 school year. Actually, it'd be the 2021. So,
Second.
Mr. Bailey?
4.
Mr. Patrick?
4.
Ms. Puckett?
4.
Mr. Shepherd?
4.
Are we stuck in the past? Okay, I'm just joking.
Authorization to sign Bland County High School checks, Jill Hopkins, Tyler Estep, and Tiffany Bradshaw.
Motion to authorize Jill L. Hopkins, Tyler Estep, and Tiffany Bradshaw to sign checks on the Blaine County High School Fund and the Blaine County High School Cafeteria Fund for the 2000, that says 18, 19, 20, and 21 school year. Oh, that's right. Okay, so we approve. We didn't. We done the cafeteria on the elementary as well.
I copied the motion from last year.
So we don't need the cafeteria?
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
So
Okay.
All that stuff is still
okay.
That's what
Okay.
I was going to say.
So we'll drop the cafeteria part. So
So
make a
with-
motion just
with
for
those
the
modifications.
Yeah.
Second.
Mr. Bailey?
4.
Mr. Patrick?
4.
Ms. Puckett?
4.
Mr. Shepherd?
4. Next item is the school calendar, and the goal is to try and have the first 2 9 weeks before Christmas shutdown. With that, it does shorten the Thanksgiving holiday to 3 days, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
So it was 5 days, and we're shortening it to 3.
Right.
So
Make the motion to approve the school calendar as presented.
I'll second.
Mr. Patrick?
4.
Mr. Bailey?
4.
Ms. Puckett?
I'm not sure. Can I say that?
You can abstain, or you can
abstain.
go yes or no.
I'll abstain.
4. Okay, HACCP plan. Would you like to make any comments on that, or? So it's a continuation of last year's plan, no changes. Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Mr. Bailey?
4.
Ms. Puckett?
4.
Mr. Patrick?
4.
Mr. Shepherd?
4. Debt policy. I think there was a modification to it.
It just has to be, they have a debt, the cafeteria has a debt that has to pay off at the end of the school year, at the end of the school year.
If you would either repeat what you said or have her, ask her to come to the microphone. If you would.
Is the debt policy only changed?
Either, no, you gotta get to the microphone, to a microphone.
Or,
What did you say? The debt policy has to be, the cafeteria has to pay off.
Okay, what she's saying is the debt policy would have to be paid off by a local entity, the school board office, at the end of each year.
And what did it say before?
It just said it should be paid off with, from the school locality, they just changed it, so it has to be every year.
So what
The
you
time-
said-
The timeframe has changed.
That's
It has to
actually
be
always
paid
been
out.
law. That's always been law. That You
That's
can't
what-
carry,
Just the
you can't
time.
carry the debt over for a
For next
cafeteria.
fiscal year.
Are we changing the timing or are we changing who pays it?
There was nothing in there that stated it had to be done within the school year, by the end of the school year, so I added that for the state.
There was nothing in the plan that stated it had to be in there in the current school year. It has to be paid off before the next fiscal school year.
Okay.
So it's the time frame that you're
So
approving.
with that understanding of that change, can I have a motion to approve?
I make a motion to approve the change.
I'll second.
Mr. Buttrey?
4.
Ms. Puckett?
4.
Mr. Bailey?
4.
Mr. Shepherd?
Or local wellness policy?
No changes.
No changes.
We will be up for a triannual assessment on the year 2021.
We'll be up for an assessment in 2021?
June.
Okay. June.
It was due this year, but I signed a waiver for some waiver next year.
Now, why don't you come up, sit with Lenore, you want to swap places with her?
Well, you can just, I mean, they can't see you, you can come up there, that way you don't have to
Or
be,
come up to the,
I mean,
hand her the
don't want
mic.
We were due for a triannual assessment of the wellness policy this year, and I signed a waiver stating that we could do it, and that we would wait for a year to do it. So if there's any changes that need to be made, we can make them after the meeting next year.
Kelly, this policy probably hasn't been changed in some time. I think it's the same one Brian did.
Yes, it was the same one Brian did.
So I recommend we put together a committee and go through this to take a look at it and look at some changes.
I shared with Kelly today on the phone that there's several things in there I think that we need to do away with that are not applicable to us.
Sounds like we have a volunteer.
Should've called underneath the table.
just raise his hand.
Thank you.
So you're gonna change the policy for next year, but we're gonna approve for this year?
You approve this year's, and then we're going to look at it for the
Okay.
review.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
I thought we already did
Mr.
that.
Bailey?
4.
Mr. Buttrey?
4.
Ms. Puckett?
4.
Mr. Shepherd?
Or, you probably want to come back up on,
Meal
My
why
prices.
don't you just come to the other microphone? Or move the microphone someplace more
We need it on a
comfortable.
big boom so you can,
Okay. The next item is meal prices.
The only thing, we didn't change any meal prices this year due to COVID. We felt like that it would be in the best interest of the parents and the students. We didn't change any meal pricing.
Okay, I was confused because in the past, every time it was made in red, it was a change and, but it wasn't a change.
We added the chicken sandwich. We added a new product that we'd have to sell.
Okay, but
It was highlighted on.
generally when they were highlighted, it was because there was a change.
It was
But it's
highlighted.
probably just an old sheet.
It was highlighted on the one that I sent her in yellow to change.
So the prices have not
The
changed.
change, the prices, we just
Okay.
added the new chicken sandwich.
Right, that should make it easy, so,
Make a motion to approve the meal prices.
Second.
4.
Four.
4. The addition to the agenda, I would like to do that next as far as scheduling a meeting before school starts. The recommendation was to have a meeting on the 25th, a special meeting, correct?
Yep.
And
What time did we say?
be at the school board office. What time do you want?
Can we do 5?
5 would be great.
If you need later than that, that's,
No, that's good for me.
Okay, and hopefully everything's turned in the right direction by then.
I'll make a motion for a special meeting on the 25th of this month at the school board office at 5 p.m.
Second.
Mr. Bailey?
4.
Mr. Petrie?
4.
Ms. Puckett?
4.
Mr. Shepherd?
4. We have several personnel recommendations. Scott, if you want to read those.
Yes, sir. I recommend that you accept Stacy Epling as the new English teacher for the high school.
I'll make a motion to accept Stacy Evans.
Second.
Mr. Bailey?
4.
Ms. Puckett?
4.
Mr. Petrie?
4.
Mr. Shepherd?
4.
Okay. Also, I have here part-time cafeteria positions. I recommend that you accept those positions as listed in your packet.
I'll make a motion to accept those.
Second.
Mr. Bailey?
4.
Ms. Puckett?
4.
Mr. Petrie?
4.
Mr. Shepherd?
4.
The board has asked me to recommend that we table the JV and 8th grade basketball.
Okay. So
Yes.
I'll make a motion to table those.
And that's all I have, sir.
Do we need to second that? Second.
Mr. Bailey?
4.
Mr. Petrie?
4.
Ms. Puckett?
4.
Mr. Shepherd?
4.
And then I'll make a motion to adjourn. And y'all want to?
Second.
Mr. Bailey?
4.
Mr. Petrie?
4.
Ms. Puckett?
4.
Mr. Shepherd?
4. Thanks, everybody, for joining us.
Thank you.
Difficult time, but we'll work through it.